The 2025 Australian Grand Prix, held at Melbourne's Albert Park Circuit on March 16, 2025, marked a thrilling and unpredictable start to the Formula One season. The race was characterized by challenging weather conditions, multiple incidents, and standout performances that set the tone for an exciting championship ahead. Anticipation was high as teams and drivers arrived in Melbourne. The weekend schedule began with free practice sessions on March 14th, where drivers familiarized themselves with a 5.278-kilometer street circuit. Lando Norris of McLaren showcased early dominance by topping the first practice session, followed closely by Carlos Sainz Jr. of Williams and Ferrari's Charles Leclerc. The session faced interruptions, notably when rookie Oliver Bearman of Haas spun into the wall, causing significant damage to his car. The second practice session saw Ferrari's Charles Leclerc leading the timesheets, with McLaren's Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris in pursuit. Bearman's earlier crash prevented his participation in this session, as his car required extensive repairs. In the final practice session on March 15th, Oscar Piastri led the field, with Mercedes' George Russell and Red Bull's Max Verstappen trailing. Bearman's misfortunes continued as he spun into the gravel at turn 11, bringing out a red flag and leaving him without a timed lap. Qualifying sessions are always pivotal, and this year's Australian Grand Prix was no exception. Lando Norris secured pole position with a blistering lap of 1 minute and 15.096 seconds, setting himself up favorably for the race. The front row was completed by McLaren's Oscar Piastri, much to the delight of the Australian fans. Defending champion Max Verstappen qualified third, with Mercedes' George Russell securing fourth. Race day brought unforeseen challenges as light rain descended upon Albert Park, adding a layer of complexity to the season opener. The race, initially scheduled for 58 laps, was reduced to 57 due to an aborted start procedure. The formation lap witnessed drama when Racing Bull's debutant Isaac Hadjar crashed, leading to a delayed start and his subsequent absence from the race. The treacherous conditions became evident immediately. On the opening lap, Alpine's rookie Jack Doohan lost control, crashing out and bringing an early end to his home Grand Prix. Williams' Carlos Sainz Jr. also faced misfortune, retiring after a collision that underscored the challenges posed by the wet track. These incidents prompted the deployment of the safety car, a recurring theme throughout the race. The wet conditions caught several drivers off guard, leading to multiple crashes and retirements. Notably, Aston Martin Fernando Alonso and Zauber's Gabriel Bortoleto were among those who couldn't complete the race due to accidents. As the race progressed, strategic decisions became crucial. McLaren's Lando Norris maintained his lead, showcasing skill and composure amidst the chaos unfolding behind him. Max Verstappen, known for his aggressive driving style, kept pressure on Norris but faced challenges due to tire wear and the tricky conditions. Mercedes' George Russell capitalized on the situation, driving a steady race that eventually earned him a spot on the podium. His teammate, rookie Andrea Kimi Antonelli, impressed many by finishing fourth in his debut race, demonstrating the depth of talent in the Mercedes camp. The Australian Grand Prix held special significance for local drivers. Oscar Piastri, starting from the front row, had high hopes but faced heartbreak when he slid off the track on lap 44, dropping to the back of the field. He managed a commendable recovery, finishing ninth and securing valuable points. Jack Doohan's early exit was a disappointment for the home crowd. Despite showing promise in qualifying, his race ended prematurely, highlighting the unforgiving nature of Formula One, especially under challenging conditions. Lewis Hamilton's much-anticipated debut with Ferrari was met with challenges. The seven-time world champion struggled with the car's performance in the wet, finishing 10th and expressing dissatisfaction with the setup. This result indicated that Ferrari might need to address performance issues to compete at the front. Despite the numerous challenges, Lando Norris showcased exceptional skill and resilience, leading from start to finish and securing his fifth career victory. His performance not only demonstrated his growth as a driver, but also underscored McLaren's resurgence as a formidable force in the championship. Max Verstappen's second-place finish was hard-fought, as he battled both the conditions and his competitors. George Russell's consistent drive to third highlighted Mercedes' potential this season. Following the Australian Grand Prix, the Drivers' Championship standings are as follows. 1. Lando Norris, McLaren, 25 points. 2. Max Verstappen, Red Bull Racing, 18 points. 3. George Russell, Mercedes, 15 points. 4. Andrea Kimi Antonelli, Mercedes, 12 points 5. Charles Leclerc, Ferrari, 10 points. The 2025 Australian Grand Prix was a race that tested not only the technical capabilities of the cars, but also the adaptability and skill of the drivers. From a racing expert perspective, this Grand Prix highlighted key trends that will likely shape the rest of the season. McLaren's resurgence, Verstappen's relentless consistency, and the growing competitiveness of Mercedes. McLaren's breakthrough performance. Lando Norris' dominant victory is perhaps the most significant takeaway from this race. His ability to manage the tricky conditions while maintaining control at the front speaks volumes about both his growth as a driver and McLaren's significant improvements. The team has clearly made strides in aerodynamics and mechanical grip, allowing Norris to extract the maximum from a car in wet and dry conditions. However, Oscar Piastri's unfortunate drop down the order after his off-track excursion on lap 44 suggests that McLaren still has some learning to do in race execution, particularly under changing conditions. Red Bull's vulnerability? Max Verstappen remains as formidable as ever, but this race showed that Red Bull is not invincible. While he managed a strong second-place finish, the fact that he couldn't mount a real challenge for the win is telling. Red Bull's usual dominance and tire management wasn't as evident here, suggesting that their setup may not have been optimized for the unique demands of Albert Park in wet conditions. While it's too early to suggest that Red Bull is in trouble, this race may indicate that McLaren and Mercedes are closing the gap. Mercedes' consistency and Antonelli's strong debut. George Russell's third-place finish underlined Mercedes' steady progress. While they may not yet have the outright pace to challenge for wins in normal conditions, they have a solid car capable of competing at the front. The real revelation, however, was Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who finished fourth in his debut race. His calm and composed performance despite challenging conditions suggests that Mercedes is a future star in the making. If the car continues to improve, Antonelli could soon become a serious contender in the title fight. Ferrari's disappointing start. Lewis Hamilton's first race with Ferrari did not go as planned. Struggling in wet conditions, he could only manage a 10th place finish, far from the expectations set by preseason testing. This suggests that Ferrari still has work to do in optimizing their car's balance and tire performance in variable conditions. Charles Leclerc's 5th place finish was more respectable, but the team must improve if they want to consistently challenge for podiums and wins. Conclusion: a season of close battles ahead. This Grand Prix gave us a taste of what could be one of the most competitive F1 seasons in recent history. McLaren has emerged as a serious challenger, Mercedes is making steady gains, and Ferrari still has work to do. While Red Bull remains a powerhouse, they are no longer untouchable. If Norris' performance is anything to go by, we may be witnessing a shift in the competitive order, setting up an unpredictable and thrilling season ahead.